Hi, everybody. Dan Illman and Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Wednesday, April the 12th, race number 7 at Keeneland. This is a second level allowance race for fillies and mares going a mile and a 16th. We have an overflow field, and let's take a look at the fillies and mares right now. You can scan the QR code or click on it for race of the day access on mobile with free formulator pass performances. The number 11, Mike, Flirting Bridge, is even money on the morning line. And the last time we saw Flirting Bridge was in early October, where she finished third and was placed second in the Grade 1 EP Taylor. Tough post, layoff.
Yeah, tough post layoff. So we'll see, how well she's able to overcome those two things. If nothing else, though, a short campaign over here last year, but a pretty good one, Dan. Really, really impressive, winning the allowance race, her first start over here. And then, 3 straight graded stakes, ran well in all of those. They progressively stretched her out, but now they're going to go shorter with her, and that might be a good thing.
Let's see where our friends at Timeform US have her placed on the pace projector after a half mile. And they've got Flirting Bridge, a horse that is breaking from a tough outside post position at the back of the pack. You'll notice that LP, she has the fastest late pace rating. She'll be running on late from that position. She'll need a little bit of pace. She'll need a little bit of a trip.
Looks like there's at least a chance this pace gets a little bit competitive for her, though, Dan. I mean, I imagine that she's not a horse who, seems like a one-run closer, so it's not like they have to take her back, but maybe they will do that from the outside post here. We'll see what kind of trip she gets in here. But again, I feel like this pace could be a little bit competitive.
I agree. There's a stretch-out sprinter in the number 10, Mademoiselle Nova. I do believe that Sister Luann, fresh off of the layoff, a gate-to-wire stakes winner in her past, has to show some speed. Let's start things off with one of the stalkers in the race, the number 1, Take a Stand. Now, Take a Stand has only raced in a turf route once before in her career. She ran just fine. She broke from the rail at a big price in the Grade 2 Mrs. Revere Stakes. She was able to stay close to a moderate pace, and she got that graded stakes placing, finishing third. She now has a sprint prep under her belt. She seems adaptable to any kind of pace scenario. We really respect Vicky Oliver as a trainer.
That's true. I can see her getting a good trip in here, second off the layoff. I'm with you. That was probably just a prep last time. I guess the real problem that I have with her, Dan, is I know that she was third in a Grade 2 on turf at the end of last year. I didn't love that race. I didn't think she ran great in there. She to me, got an absolutely perfect trip and never looked like she was going to win. It doesn't mean she can't improve here. Again, she's got a great post. She'll probably fall into a really good position early. I'm just not really sold on her. And so if she wasn't, some kind of really big price, I really wouldn't be interested.
And the number 2 is Sweet Serenade, who will be making her third start of the form cycle. And if you want to give her a mulligan for the first race back against a decent mare in White Frost, where she was only beaten 4 lengths, you can. And last time out, she didn't break very well, and she was sort of held up behind a slow pace. That being said, she's had several other races where she's been stuck at this level and hasn't been able to break through.
That was my problem with her, too. I just don't really love her form overall. I mean, I thought she ran fine off the layoff, as you've already mentioned, against a really good horse in White Frost. I know it says through her head start last time. I don't know. When I watched the replay, it didn't really seem like it was that big of a deal for her. She did wind up back off the pace. Didn't really do any running after that. I don't think she's necessarily impossible in this race, then. I just don't love her overall form.
If you're looking for a stranger, look no further than the 3, One Time Mo, who is lightly raced, upwardly mobile, and has turf pedigree. This will be her turf debut. Uncle Mo wins about 15% on turf and 15% with his first-time turf runners. This dam was placed first in a Grade 3 turf route, and One Time Mo is a half-sister to a stakes-placed turf runner. So she has the pedigree, and she's coming into this race with very good dirt form, winning her last 2 for Neil Pesson.
Yeah, it feels like she just got really got better when they stretched her out on dirt. We'll see what that means as they switch her over to turf. I mean, it's a pretty tough call. She's obviously going to have to improve, and there are some good horses in this race. So we'll see how that all plays out. But if nothing else, I mean, you're right. She has a very versatile pedigree. This whole family is pretty good on both turf and dirt. This horse is an Uncle Mo. There's certainly a chance that this horse could take a little bit of a step forward here, but she'll have to do that.
And number 4 is Woohoo Jackie Blue, and this horse's first 3 turf races were pretty good, and that culminated with a victory in a first-level allowance at Monmouth. She ran during the Keeneland fall meet at this level. She was unplaced. She had a little bit of traffic in that race, and then she was put on the sidelines for a while. She got a really nice tightener, I thought, at Oaklawn Park. It was against weaker on dirt going 6. I like the way she kicked those horses down. She can show tactical speed stretching back out.
Yeah, pretty good off the layoff last time. We'll see. She's another one who obviously handles the turf just fine. I can't say that I'm really blown away by her turf form. I know that she won when they stretched her out in Monmouth last summer. I didn't really like that race. I didn't think that was a very good field, but she got the job done, Dan. Another horse who I just felt like had to improve in here, but she's still lightly raced. If you think she can do it, you're going to get a good price.
Like the 3 one-time Mo, the 5 Under One Sky is switching surfaces in excellent form. This filly has won her last 2 starts over the all-weather at Turfway Park. She came from way out of it last time out, and she was one going away at a short price. She's obviously much improved from earlier in her career. I do have to think that she's better on the synth than she is on turf.
Yeah, it feels like maybe that's the case. I don't know. I mean, I know that she's won her last 2 starts. I think it's at least worth pointing out that the win 2 back was a 2-life claimer. She came back and ran better, I guess, against a better field last time. But this is a pretty significant step up in class. And it's not like her turf form from last year is great.
Choctaw Bingo, the number 6, is going to be a big price, but this mare has been very consistent. She's been on the board in her last 5 races. Well, watch her most recent turf start. This is 2 back during the summer at Horseshoe, Indianapolis, in a starter optional claimer. You see, she has good tactical speed. She could place herself in the second flight or so. She turns into the stretch. She's simply second best on this day, Mike. But the 4th place finisher of the race did come back to earn an 85 buyer speed figure, winning a $10,000 starter.
Yeah, I mean, I like that she wins races. Boy, most of this turf form, though, that we're looking at is not against this kind of competition, Dan. She got second last time, but that wasn't a race where it ever looked like she was going to win off of a good trip. I don't know. I just thought she was another horse in here. I thought it was pretty hard to like her. But if you did, or if you do, you're going to get a good price on her.
Keep an eye on the number 7, Boma, who's 20-1 on the morning line. Although she's yet to win from 2 prior turf starts, she has excuses. She was likely overmatched in the 2021 Jessamine, and last time out, it was a return off of a lengthy layoff in a paceless race where she got wired. Now she's coming back without another layoff line for a very capable trainer. Does she have to improve on speed figures? Certainly,
Yeah.
but I don't see why she can't do it. She's very lightly raced.
Yeah, and most of her form so far is as a 2-year-old. Dan, I mean, it got 1 start in early last year, and then it was a really long layoff. And I'm with you on her last start. Didn't really have much of a chance in there. The pace wasn't fast. The winner goes wire to wire. This horse just flattened out a little bit at the end of the race, like she needed it, which isn't a big surprise considering how long she was away. Second off the layoff now. There's plenty of room to improve here.
If you're looking for a pace play, the 8 Sister Luann might be the one for you because her win in the Martha Washington Stakes at Gulfstream Park last year came off of a similar layoff where she was able to get to the front. Her most recent start was at Keeneland during the fall meet. She showed speed that day. That was a pretty good field as well. She finished ahead of 3 next out winners, and one of the horses that didn't come back to win ended up being stakes placed at Turfway with an 86 buyer.
Yeah, I'm not going to suggest that she doesn't have any chance in here, Dan. She's certainly one of the horses I think you want to consider, and maybe she'll just get the right trip in this race. I have a tough time believing that this horse is that good. I guess we'll find out. I mean, she's won twice in her career, both of those races, one on synth, one on turf, just loose on the lead. Nobody challenged her. She had plenty left through the stretch and got the job done, but they weren't particularly fast races. That last one at Keeneland, I mean, all right, I guess that was a good field, but, or a decent field anyway. But once again, she's absolutely loose on the lead in there, confidently ridden into the stretch. And the closers just came and basically ran right over the top of her. The winner was 54-1. The runner-up was 37-1. The horse that finished third was 48-1. And this horse was no match for any of those horses.
I think the number 9, Blissful, is slowly figuring this game out. Her 2 starts this form cycle have been okay for Cherie DeVoe. Caught a very live race in the off-turf Pago hop on New Year's Eve. Last time out, returned to turf, caught a weaker first level allowance, but I liked the way she won that race. She stayed close to a solid pace. She got to the outside. And when I first watched the replay, I was like, boy, it's taking her forever to grind down this horse on the lead. But watching the head on, it really looked like it was mostly hands and heels urging.
Yeah, I liked that performance last time too. I'm with you. I mean, it kind of felt like she was just going to run away from that field at the top of the stretch because she was really confidently ridden around that final turn there. Hernandez was just waiting to go. It took her a little while to get there, but man, I thought she won that race really easily. A step in the right direction. It feels like maybe she's going to finally start to deliver on what I thought was a lot of early promise. I really liked her debut. I thought she looked good when she came back off the layoff early last year. Unfortunately for her, she didn't get to race that much. I think there's still more in the tank here.
The number 10 is Mademoiselle Nova, a stretch out sprinter that can be part of this pace picture. Now, we saw her in New York last fall in a couple of sprint races. I think she's probably a little bit more effective at these middle distances and sort of 2-turn, 7.5 furlong races. Her most recent start probably gained a lot of fitness sprinting on the all-weather. The question is, if she's going to the front in here, she's going to be facing some solid quality pace pressure, and she has to prove she's this good anyway. I won't knock anyone that likes her. She's 50-1.
Exactly. I don't know that she can necessarily get the right trip in here, Dan, but we'll see. I mean, I would say, if nothing else, I know that they wound up cutting her back at the end of last year, and then they sprinted her again off the layoff. I think it's fair to say that she didn't improve as a sprinter. I mean, I feel like her better races are going a little bit longer and around 2 turns. And in those races, it feels like she can get any kind of a trip in a race. So maybe it'll all work out here. She's going to be a huge price.
If the 11 Flirting Bridge runs her usual race from 2022, she's probably just going to win this. Her North American debut off the layoff was extremely visually impressive. That was at Churchill Downs. She didn't break well that day. She must have swung 6-7 wide into the stretch and then inhaled those horses in the lane. She followed that up with 3 graded stakes placings, including in the prestigious E. Pierre Taylor at Woodbine, going 1.25 miles, where she's got a big look at this turning into the stretch.
Yeah, had a real chance at this race. I think, I mean, it's fair enough to go back and look at it and say, I mean, she had no excuse in here, but it's a good field. Maybe the 1.25 miles isn't exactly what she wants, Dan. I mean, she has the lead here, but she's just not going to really finish that strongly in this race. And they're going to come and catch her right at the end. I feel like shorter's better for her. Her form is just really, really hard to knock. She's just going to need a trip in this race from post 11.
The 12 is Lady Puchi, a horse that has some form as well, but is another one stuck in a difficult outside post position. She won on turf at Keeneland 3 starts back, going the mile. I thought it was a pretty good performance, Mike. Then they put her in a couple of graded stakes races where she might have been in just a little bit over her head, but dropping back into the allowance ranks means she gets the benefit of Lasix once again.
Yeah, if she had a better post, I probably would have her higher in my pick stand, because I actually liked her turf form last year. I did like that win over this turf course, that entry-level allowance. I thought she ran well that day. Even her Mrs. Revere, the last time we saw her, I'm not going to sit here and suggest she was going to win that race. I hated the trip that she got in that race from Leparoux. Just sat on the inside off of a relatively slow pace, and he just never got her into the clear through the stretch. I feel like she had a big excuse last time. She has a terrible post here, but the bigger the price she is, the more interested I become.
2 horses on the also eligible, the 13 Texas Magic, the 14 Lovely Princess. Of those 2 horses, I prefer Lovely Princess, who was a Keeneland winner 2 starts back, and then was far from disgraced in the Mrs. Revere, finishing 4th in her stakes debut.
Yeah, I would prefer her also if they wind up getting into this race, but she would also have a pretty bad post, and she's not a great price on the line.
Before we get to our top selections, please subscribe to the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for the latest DRF video franchises. Top pick time for our Wednesday DRF race of the day. We're both going with Blissful in here. We certainly respect the favorite. I won't be surprised at all if she just wins, and I think the plan with them this time around is take her back, make 1 run. I think she's better with that sort of bid than with sort of a mid-pack trip, but I like Blissful's upside. I liked her last race, and I think she may drift a little bit off that 9-2.
I think we look at it the same way. I don't have a lot to add to that. I'm happy to take a little shot with Blissful here and give her the chance to improve in this race. The 11 is supposed to be pretty hard to beat.
Same triple in here. Mike's going 9-11-12-3. I'm going 9-11-12-8 in the Wednesday DRF race of the day, the 7th at Keeneland. Good luck.